This is Philip Caetano da Costa with the news on Zodiac. The headlines this hour. Former President Peter Mutharika declines to be questioned by SCB for lacking clarity on reasons for the move. SCB will now access NSO data for use in corruption inquiries. An MOU to that effect has been signed today. The Malay Police Inspector General says they will commence fresh investigations into Nsundu rape allegations. In sports, Silver Strikers remain hopeful of 3 new signings before end of this month. Now the news in detail. Former President Peter Mutharika has clarified on reasons of refusing to take questions from the Anti-Corruption Bureau, ACB, among them lack of clarity on details for the exercise. His lawyer, Samuel Tembenu, has told us his client wants to know if ACB wants to question him as a witness or a suspect, among other reasons. ACB Director General Martha Chizuma said the Bureau is reviewing the statement released by Mutharika before making a decision moving forward. Emmanuel Chibwana filed this report.
The former president would like to get more clarity from the graft-busting body. Samuel Tembenu, legal counsel for Professor Arthur Peter Mutharika, says the Anti-Corruption Bureau has to follow procedures.
There is no way anybody can leave their home to go to the SCB or wherever and have a general chat with him without knowing the reasons why they have to interview you. The simple request was, what is this all about? So that when somebody is answering the questions, they must know that they are answering the questions whether they are suspects or witnesses.
SCB Director Martha Chizuma says currently the Bureau has put the communication from Professor Mutharika under legal microscope and will inform the public on the next move. Legal analyst Dr. Sunduzwayo Madisi says it is surprising that the former president has snubbed SCB.
He owes, I think, the nation a duty to explain to us how his DPIN found itself in the hands of third parties, if it's deep, or how his DPIN was used to import produces and products without maybe his sanction.
SCB has already questioned some people in the alleged case of abuse of taxpayer identification number, DPIN, of Professor Arthur Peter Mutharika during his term of office as President of Malawi. For ZBS in Zomba, this is Emmanuel Chibwana.
Still on fighting corruption, the Anti-Corruption Bureau, SCB, and the National Statistical Office, NSO, have signed an MOU which will see the graft-busting body access NSO data for use in corruption investigations. Speaking at the signing ceremony, SCB Director General Martha Chizuma says data was crucial in their corruption investigation, hence the MOU. Andrew Manea has filed this report.
The two institutions, National Statistical Office and the country's graft-busting body, SCB, signed the MOU at Mount Sochi Hotel in Blantyre Tuesday. NSO Commissioner Mese Kanyuka told journalists after signing the agreement they are ready to evaluate public institutions for their perceived corrupt practices using their expertise.
And this signing will give us the impetus to move forward on these planned activities. We first of all have to plan activities and then start rolling out on a yearly basis.
SCB Director General Martha Chizuma, on her part, said these will help the Bureau fight corruption in organizations serving the public with tangible information.
Any intervention done by any country in terms of trying to improve performance and trying to ensure there's development, at the back of it, in the background, there are statistics, there are numbers, there's research that is done. And so if we are talking about anti-corruption fight in the country, We are saying statistics matter. And if statistics matter, the engagement that we have now signed formally today with the National Statistics Office is a huge step towards ensuring that we have correct statistics that we can now interpret in coming up with interventions on anti-corruption fight in the country.
NSO is currently in partnership with other departments, including the Directorate of Road Traffic and Safety Services and the Department of Immigration and Citizenship Services.
The Malawi Police Inspector General, Dr. George Kainja, says the service will commence fresh investigations into rape allegations by some police officers at Msundwe and Mbwadalika in Lilongwe. The offences were committed in 2019. Speaking at the signing ceremony of a Memorandum of Understanding by the Police, Malawi Human Rights Commission and Women Lawyers Association Tuesday afternoon, Dr. Kainja says he will swiftly act on the officers if the investigations will establish that they committed the offence back then. The fresh inquest is coming days after the 18 women were compensated. Andrew Viano has filed a report.
2 years after the alleged offence of rape and defilement of women of Nsundwe, Mpingu and Mbwadalika in Lilongwe by some police officers, the Malawi Police Service says will commence fresh investigations into the matter to ascertain specific officers that were involved. Inspector General of the service, Dr. George Kainja, says the previous report from investigations by the service was shoddy and found wanting, hence the new inquest.
The first investigation that we carried out earlier on were found wanting. They had a lot of gaps that we needed to fill from the point of the court and the stakeholders like Women Lawyers Association, Malawi Human Rights Commission. They were not satisfied with the way how the Malawi Police Service carried out its investigation. So for purposes of transparency, we thought it would be important that we answer the voice of reason that is outside there in terms of carrying out fresh investigation. That's why this time around, you've seen the Malawi Police Service teaming up with the Women Lawyers Association, Malawi Human Rights Commission, and UN so that we undertake fresh investigation.
On her part, Malawi Human Rights Commission MHRC Executive Secretary Habiba Osman says the commission expects that the investigations will not take forever. Osman further says that those found to have committed the offence should be penalized accordingly. In 2019, about 100 police officers were deployed in 3 teams stationed at Mbwadalika, Nsundwe and Mpingu trading centers along the Lilongwe-Mchinji Road, with others roving in communities where they allegedly tear-gassed people to displace them. It is believed that in the course of their operations of clearing the road, controlling the crowds and making arrests, some police officers ventured into the villages and nearby locations, throwing tear gas into houses, beating and breaking into houses where they allegedly raped about 18 women.
7 suspects have escaped custody at Chitedze Police Unit in Lilongwe, which was left unattended Sunday night, barely 2 weeks after a similar incident at a police unit in Mzimba. Security experts say these cases are telling of corruption and negligence on the part of police. A crime report on the Chitedze incident says 3 duty officers did not report for duty for both day and night shifts on Sunday. The report says the suspects ripped the roof of their cell to escape. Lilongwe Police publicist Joseph Kajiko now says the 3 officers will face disciplinary action. Alinafe Mlamba visited Chitedze and filed this report.
The incident took place on Sunday after all officers who were put on duty failed to report. It is not known yet as to whether this was a coordinated effort between the officers and the criminals. But incidents of this nature, where criminals are escaping after police posts are left unmanned, are becoming a common phenomenon. For this particular incident in Chitedze, the police report which we have in our possession is indicating that the suspects escaped through a rooftop after noticing that there have been no any officer at the station for several hours. Meanwhile, Lilongwe Police spokesperson Joseph Kajiko has said that a disciplinary action is being taken to the affected officers.
The 6 committed an offense of a burglary. We are doing our investigations so that we arrest these people, and we are very sure that we are going to rearrest them as we did already.
In Mzimba, about 9 suspects escaped custody in a similar fashion. This, according to security expert Shelifi Gaisi, is an indication of degrading profession standards in the work of the police in the country.
When you look at why prisons are there, it's to ensure that security in the country prevail. The normal process is that if one is found guilty, for example, by the court, is taken to prison for rehabilitation and probably to reshape the behaviors.
In few weeks, Malawi will be hosting various heads of states and other important dignitaries for a SADC meeting. Surely, this would not be the right time for our men in uniform to be showing lapses.
The theft case involving former Minister of Information Henry Musa and former Director of Information Gideon Muntali has been adjourned to August 19. Today, the former director started defending himself by outlining his roles at the ministry. The two are suspected to have stolen computers for the ministry. Winston Kaimira reports.
Hearing of the case resumed with a fresh application from the defense seeking a 5-day adjournment to prepare its evidence. The defense lawyers said they received late some evidence documents from the state, but Director of Public Prosecutions, Dr. Stephen Gayuni, objected to this, arguing that the court had given the defense enough time to prepare its evidence. Chief Resident Magistrate Patrick Chirwa ruled that hearing should continue. Former Director of Information Gideon Muntali outlined to the court roles he had as Director of Information at the ministry. His testimony shall continue during the next day of hearing, 19th August 2021. Meanwhile, lawyer for Muntali, Crispin Ndala, says he's happy with the way the defense has started parading its witnesses.
Apparently, we were trying our best to put up a formidable defense in defense of the first accused person. But the rest really will be determined once we finish our defense, and the colleagues also proceed to do their own defense. And thereafter, we'll leave the rest to the court to make a determination. But we'll try our best and put a formidable and meritorious defense, as it were.
Director of Public Prosecutions, Dr. Stephen Gayuni, said the state is happy that the court dismissed an application to adjourn the case for the defense to prepare its evidence.
After a bit of challenges on the start of the defense, they didn't want the defense to start today. Eventually the court ordered that the defense should start today, and the hearing of the defense proceeded with the first accused person, the student-in-chief, and it has been adjourned and will continue on another day.
The defense is expected to parade 2 witnesses in the matter. Winston Kaimira reporting for Zodiak.
You're watching the news here on Zodiac. We'll be back with more after this.
UNICAF University, July to August 2021 intake. Special scholarships available at UNICAF University for bachelor, master's and doctoral degree programs. UNICAF University is accredited nationally by the NCHE and internationally by the British Accreditation Council in the UK. Enroll for internationally recognized degrees at a fraction of the cost. Feel safe knowing that your online studies with UNICAF University will not be disrupted by measures for the pandemic. From enrollment to graduation, everything runs smoothly online. Don't miss this golden opportunity. This offer is valid until the end of August 2021. So, apply today and get a free tablet when you register and pay the required deposit. Ring 01755 333 or WhatsApp 0993 907002 for more information.
Ufika 2063 akale wokomera aliyense achinyamata tikwira ne manja tukula Malawi achinyamata tikale patsogolo tukula Malawi wozimira paeka Malawi wokomera aliyense Malawi 2063 kusintha dziko lathu mokomera aliyense.
We all start differently, but we can all start with the strongest protection. Because some start early, others start late. Some from little homes, others from big ones. Some start together, or all on their own.
It doesn't matter how you start, as long as you start strong. With new Colgate Maximum Cavity Protection. Now with fluoride plus arginine for 4 times more strengthening power. So that you can give them the strongest start to their day. Colgate. Start strong, stay strong.
Feast of 5 things is here. Feast of 5 things is here. Tell everybody for the nations. Feast of 5 things is here. Blow the trumpet. Tell everybody for the nations.
Welcome back. A look at the headlines as we continue. Former President Peter Mutharika declines to be questioned by SCB for lacking clarity and reasons for the move. SCB will now access NSO data for use in corruption inquiries. An MOU to that effect has been signed today. The Malawi Police Inspector General says they will commence fresh investigations into Msundwe rape allegations. In sports, Silver Strikers remain hopeful of 3 new signings before end of this month. As we continue, a well-trained and multi-skilled young generation is being described as key to job creation in the country and realization of Malawi's developmental blueprint, Malawi 2063. The sentiments have been made by the registrar from Mzuzu University, Yona Mungwira, on Tuesday in Lilongwe, during a graduation ceremony of 243 youths who have graduated with certificates in business management, entrepreneurship, and ICT. They have been trained under the Jobs for Youth project, which Mzuni is running in partnership with Ministry of Youth and Sports. Now we turn to sports. Silver Strikers Football Club remain hopeful of signing 3 new players before July 31st as part of bolstering their squad for the CAF Confederation Cup this September. The central bankers have been linked with moves for 4 players, but we are hearing deals for Chitipa United players Emmanuel Muira and Ahadi Ingandu are near completion. Sam Banda reports.
With 31st July fast approaching before the closure of a 14-day grace period for further additions, Nyasa Big Bullets have managed to capture Anthony Mfune from Karonga United, whilst time seemed to be running out for Capital City heavyweight Silver Strikers, who are yet to make any new signing. The central bankers were recently linked with Red Lions midfielder Chikoti Chirwa, Moyale Barracks forward Gustin Simkonda, as well as Sivos Muhammad Sulumba and Karonga United's Crispin Muhangama. But Zodiak understands that the Reserve Bank of Malawi outfit have made a U-turn and instead have targeting Chitipa United's Hadi Ngandu and Emmanuel Muira. Chitipa United General Secretary Duma Ngoma has confirmed that discussions are at an advanced stage and the deal could be completed before Friday.
Yeah, that is very true. Of course, we have received a letter from Silver Strikers that they want the services of Emmanuel Muira. However, we have advised them to get the boy on a permanent basis. We are looking at the 2 issues here, so we do not wish to hinder his future. That is why we said maybe because our club is a bit smaller as compared to Silver Strikers, we have no problem to let him go.
Silver Strikers Chief Executive Officer Toko Chimbari has confirmed the Area 47 heavyweights have have made progress towards bringing new signings, but was coy on the identity of players.
We would rather keep a tight lead to the auctions up until the final deals are done. Anything can happen. Friday is a long way to go, and I don't want to confirm or deny anything. As I said, let's wait up until everything is done. We'll be able to come to the media and then declare the name.
The Confederation of African Football (CAF) expects all teams to submit their final lists of players as early as the 1st of August.
That's what we had time for in this news edition. But before we go, a look at the headlines. Former President Peter Mutharika declines to be questioned by SCB for lacking clarity on reasons for the move. SCB will now access NSO data for use in corruption inquiries. An MOU to that effect has been signed today. The Malay Police Inspector General says they will commence fresh investigations into Nsundwe rape allegations. In sports, Silver Strikers remain hopeful of 3 new signings before end of this month. Visit our website zodiacmalawi.com for more news. My name is Philip Caetano da Costa. Thanks for watching.